is how we welcome you to Artistic Spot, a show about art, talent, and entrepreneurship, where you are also the artist. My name is Jose Rodriguez Marvel, and I'm your host in tonight's episode. And we are recording from FAVO, Faith Arts Village, Orlando. And sitting right next to me is artist Will Benton.
Hi.
So, Will, now you're sitting in front of the camera, and now I wanted you to talk about your experience as an artist in this community in Orange County. Not necessarily at FAVO, but I want you to share your story on how the county has been helpful for you as an artist. Do you have any information on the resources that are available for artists in Orange County? Or is that something that you do not have enough information about? Just share your story on how is it hard or easy for you being an artist in Orange County?
Well, as far as the community of Orange County, opposed to the city of Orange County, or the county of Orange County, the community of Orange County has been very supportive of my personal art. The artists in this community have been very supportive of me and my art in this community. I know I've sat in on a couple of workshops with one particular organization, an arts organization that does, you can apply for grants and stuff like that. And I did sit through a workshop that was many years ago. It sounded like a process that I just don't have the patience for. Too much paperwork, too many words to think of, and I would just rather be creative and not have to, I don't do art to necessarily make money. I do art to be creative. If there was a project that I wanted to do as a community project with kids or something like that, then I probably would explore more opportunities as an individual artist through the county or through individual grant organizations to help fund that, because it would be a larger sum of money. I really don't have any experience as far as dealing with the county. The only one I have had dealings with has been this one arts organization. So I think it's an amazing opportunity for artists. I know there are a lot of things that have to be accomplished before you can go down those roads with Orange County, and it's not been something that I've had the desire to do.
Now, do you think that there are enough resources for those artists that are striving to have visual arts as the main source of income, per se? Do you think they have enough resources? Do you think they have access to enough money from the government or money from the county in order to make their ends meet, besides having to have another source of income, because maybe not enough
right
when they work full-time
right.
as a visual artist? For some of them, it's even impossible to
right.
work full-time.
That's a very good question. I don't honestly think the majority of artists have the wherewithal to want to go through a process to get funding. For me, what I've understood is not only the application process, but then also the keeping track of everything that you spend, and and how you use that money and when it's given to you. It's a lot. And working in an arts organization and running an arts organization in Orange County, I know my artists here and the artists that have come through these doors, and I've not known of one of them that has gone through the process of applying for grants through Orange County.
If you were able to be one of those people sitting there providing new ideas in order to have the visual artist community to make their ends meet through what they feel passionate about, what would you do and why?
I don't know. I think part of me falls into a category of being an organizer an event coordinator, an artist, and a salesman. So I've got the drive for myself to do a lot of things. I could make the application happen. I could make all of that stuff happen. I don't personally feel within myself a need for it. I do see other artists that do have and have great dreams of doing larger scale projects that involve kids and community and things like that, but they don't have the personal funding to make that happen. But then artists in general are just, to me, not gonna make that effort if it's so complicated to go down that road. I don't know if I answered your question.
You have seen a lot of artists coming out of their nutshell, being part of FAVO for the past 10 years. Because this is pretty much your baby and you're the executive director of this place. And now that you have seen them, what do you think it's missing for them? Do you think they're wanting more financial support, or do you think having access to enough resources that can have their names up there, like having enough exhibits or art exhibitions or call to artists, do you think there are enough of those things for them, or do they have access to that information so they know, oh, I may have this small piece that can go to this gallery, or maybe to this gallery at the city of Orlando, or maybe in the chambers at Orange County? Do you think there's enough information for the artist, or do you think there's a lack and there's a little bump on the road for them where they're trying to show their artwork and not having it under the bed, as Stephen was saying during his episode on Artistic Spot?
Right. I think it's all across the board. I think there are artists that go and really explore Orlando and all of the opportunities between here and all of Central Florida, and they get as much work into the museum and to City Arts and here into FAVO and different organizations, so that their work can be seen. There are a lot of artists that do nothing, and they're moderately content with that. So I think there's a lot of shows. There's a lot of shows that happen that I don't even know about. If I'm not seeing it on social media, and if somebody doesn't bring me something saying we're doing something or invite me to participate, then I don't know of everything going on. I don't know a lot about the things going on in the Hispanic community. I do see a lot of stuff on social media. So that's very helpful to me, because most of my information goes out on social media. As far as resources, I think it's a little deceiving. I see a lot of things come out of Orange County and the city of Orlando. I won't mention names, but looking for people to apply for different things, sculpture exhibits and different things like that. And I have to be honest that I see those things, and I've applied to two of them. And most of the people that are awarded those large projects don't even live in the state of Florida. So that's one of the things that I see, even if local artists who are brilliant are applying to some of these things, they're not getting awarded to them. They're getting awarded to people that don't even live in our fair state. So that's upsetting to me. I think there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of organizations happening. There are new organizations I know of that's coming. How do we get more of that information out? I think working together more. A lot of the artist communities find it to be a competitive thing. I don't need to compete with anybody. FAVO doesn't need to compete with anybody. Knowing that there's two other art shows that are happening less than a mile from me on the same night, it's not lucrative for the artist, because it's artists going to art events.
Correct.
So that's a little distracting for me.
What could you tell them, to those artists that are watching this special episode of Artistic Spot? What would you tell them about if they want to have and make visual arts their main source of income? Because there's a little frustration when you have a lot of talent in this community, but at the same time, those people and that talented community, they're focusing on having a full-time job because they're actually having to pay their bills.
Right.
And their passion, sadly, does not pay their bills. So
Exactly.
what can you tell them? And do you see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to having visual arts as a main source of income for this amazing and talented community in Central Florida, especially in Orange County?
I personally think that if you want to survive as an artist alone, you need to treat art as a job. You need to work at it every day. You need to get yourself out there. You need to have a social presence, a website, everything that you could possibly come up with. A lot of people are hiring marketing managers these days if they have the income to do that. If you cannot manage that and you don't have the wherewithal to treat art as a job and work at it, then you should have another source of income. There are struggling artists. I have struggling artists right here on this property that barely make ends meet. And, you know, they're trying. They're trying. There was another part of that question that I was really intrigued by, and it has escaped me. The end of it.
What would you tell them? Do you see that there's a possibility for them to make visual arts and be an artist as a main source of income in Orange County?
Yes, that's what I wanted to answer. So I think yes, there is, and there are very successful artists. If you look at the artist of McRae Studios just down the street, they're almost all professional artists, but they work all of the art shows all over the country, and they work at their art every day. So I applaud them for that. There are artists here that are successful artists. There are artists that have been here that have been very successful and are still very successful artists. And they do it on a full-time job. I do see as Orlando as a community that is growing up a little bit. Orlando was a very transient community for many years. Disney came here and people were just coming in and out. Orlando has grown. There's a lot of wealth in Orlando now. So making original art and stuff like that part of every home is something that I kind of strive for. My friends that own businesses that are in building or interior design or architecture, you know, I try to communicate with them and say, I will give you a great deal on a piece of art just to see some original art go into homes. And so as an artist, you have to work at it. You have to give art away every now and then. Currently, I'm working with several artists, you guys included, about donating to Advent Health for their gala, their 2021 gala. I give stuff to Ronald McDonald House. I give stuff away all the time. And that also gets your name out into the community that you are a giver. And people have art hanging in their homes.
And you never know who's watching.
You never know who's watching. That's right.
Thank you, Will, for
Thank
being
you
part
so
of our
much.
story again.
Thank you.
And for those of you, our audience, don't forget to tune us back in next week in Artistic Spot, where you are also the artist.